Thank you for welcoming me with open ears and open hearts. I am employed with Unitarian University's Prison Ministry of Illinois. I travel around the state with Reverend Allison to various Unitarian congregations, and we fulfill our mission, and that is to help those congregations change institutions. It's a real treat to get to see all the congregations throughout Illinois, though, right? Because every congregation has its own vibe and flavor. You know what I mean? Like this one here is real welcoming. Like if I was to put one word to this congregation, it's real welcoming. You know what I mean? So I just want to give yourselves a hand for that. So how I came about to be in the UU orbit. So I was in prison. Matter of fact, I just became uncaged approximately 18 months ago. After serving 17 years. So while in prison, I was the resident imam of the Islamic community. And so if you didn't know, I'm going to tell you about prison. Prison is religiously conservative, right? It is racially segregated, and it is incredibly homophobic, right? So I had this improbable conversation with a white gay Buddhist, right? So, so after our conversation, he said, "I have something I think you would really like," and he offered me a UU World, right? And I looked at the magazine and saw the verbiage and saw Reverend and church, and so I immediately categorized it in the that category and put it on the shelf, right? And so he followed up and asked, or I should say she, because she's since transitioned, and her name is Shay now. So she followed up, and I began to read it, and this is back during a time when Unitarians were having this courageous conversation about white supremacy, right? And I'm looking at the congregation. It was mostly people who are socially defined as white, and I said, what are they trying to do? Clear the pews? You know what I mean? Because it was a real tough conversation and courageous, but what it did was intrigue me. Who are these people, right, that are willing to go in on these multiple and insidious tentacles of white supremacy and delve really into that conversation and also follow up with action, right? You know what I mean? And so I was intrigued, and so I signed in with UU World. Churches of Latter Fellowship had a whole curriculum, and thanks to some leaders in Illinois who founded UUPMI, I got a pen pal from Illinois. Matter of fact, I got two. And embarked on a very mutually enriching relationship. We have evolved into a family of choice now, right? As we still communicate now, and so that's how I became part of UU. So I want to get into the poem real quickly because I know your services are short. So, I didn't know Lonnie. The first time I heard that poem was when I was released, and I was so grateful for UU because it played such a big part in my personal transformation that I went to the second UU on the north side when I got out, and Reverend Allison read that poem, and I had this immediate overwhelming reaction. I just started crying. I mean, not like tears coming down, like I'm in the front row boo-hooing, right, over this poem about this mirror, all right? And because, you get to leave prison, but you don't get to leave the trauma, right? You take that home with you. And so that poem just triggered, it put me right back in the cell. And as I was driving home, I thought about what was it about that poem that made me have such this intense reaction. And so, and I just thought about the mirror, right? You know what I mean? And And so I want you to visualize yourself in prison, right? I want you to think of Shawshank Redemption, right? Because most of our maximum security facilities were built during the Civil War, right? And so you got the bars, it's old, and I imagine sitting in your washroom with the door closed for 23 hours, right? So I want you to imagine those things. Being at Shawshank Redemption and being in your washroom with the door closed for 23 hours. And this ubiquitous tool called the mirror that everyone has, right? And if you're without your mirror, you have this panic like we just had about this door, right? Here's technology that we've gotten so accustomed to, and here it is, the thought of being without it. It was, let's better get the door open, right? We operated without technology for quite a long time, right? But again, that's how this mirror is. You have to have a mirror in your cell because it provides you with so much. It allows you to, as Lonnie stated in the poem, it allows you to do self-care, of course, right? Look at yourself, you check parts of your body, and you don't get to see your actual self because they don't give you a real mirror, right? They give you a reflective substance that's bendable, and so you get the clown surface effect with the mirror. You don't know who, so you don't really get a true reflection of yourself. So just think of that, right? So for 17 years, not having the opportunity to see your actual self, except through a distorted lens. So that is invaluable, right? So we used to use it to communicate, right? We stick it out the bars, and the other person stick it out their bars, and we look in the mirror to talk, right? And now, we can perfectly hear each other, but it's something about looking into the eyes of another human being and having a conversation, right? And so it allows us to connect with our neighbor in that way. It allows us to get provisions, because despite what many people believe, prison is a very community-oriented space. We have to be, right, in order to survive. And so we share food, books, a whole host of things, both allowed and not allowed. And a way to get it is called fishing. And so somebody throw out a line, and you use the mirror to throw out your line and try to fish to get those provisions. But you wouldn't be able to secure those things had you not had your mirror. What the mirror represents is defiance, right? That despite me sitting in this washroom with the door closed for 23 hours a day, I'm expanding my vision, thus expanding my cell and my world, right? It allows you to see beyond the confines that you're in. And for me, it served as a very transformational part, an integral piece in my transformation, because I told you I got a pen pal, right? I had two. And these are two people I didn't know. They were strangers. They never judged me. They never had a whole bunch of questions. They were just there, right? And sending these letters and treating me like I mattered and that there was some hope. And I was having difficulty accepting their love, right? I had too many resentments toward white people. I actually had a resentments toward the privilege that they had, right? And a whole host of other things. But again, that armor was keeping me from actually receiving the love that was given to me. And it was so overwhelming and compelling and continuous that I knew that whatever this was in me, it had to go. It had to go. And so one day, while looking in my mirror, I had that conversation with myself. This internal battle with myself. And so for me, the mirror had a more deeper significance because it was real personal. It served a purpose for me that I take forward. And so, like I told you, that in prison there's mostly conservative voices, most of the institutions that provide literature in prisons are conservative voices, conservative messages, and so you eat that and you digest that. Being exposed to Unitarian content softened me to the point where I didn't change my religious tradition, but I looked at it through an entirely different lens, and I began to see stuff that was already there that spoke to these values. So that was my experience with Unitarianism. And it's just a real privilege and pleasure to have the opportunity to pour back into this well that I was able to drink from. You know what I mean? And do it in a very intentional way. And so before I leave, I just want to say that if because this is a community of action, if you're looking to have an impact, if you're looking to have a pound for pound impact, to me, it's in the changing of people, right? Because cheap people change institutions, right? Nothing, to me, pound for pound, has the impact of changing people like the Pen Pal program, because it gives you an opportunity to inject love, care, to infuse individuals with principles and ideas that they never thought of. I'm short enough to get out of here. I participated in a praxis on prison abolition. My pen pal and I, right? We both participated in this practice. We would process the reading, and then we would, process it on a, Unitarian level as well. And I was introduced to prison abolition, right? And so basically I was politicized, right? And so all the work I do now, whether it's with Phalanx Family Services, I run the reentry department, and I started my own org, Revolutionary Reentry Hub, but all that stemmed from my experience through that introduction through the praxis from the Pen Pal program, right? And so that can be scaled, right? That can be scaled, but it takes individuals to participate in that Pen Pal program. And it's safe, you determine the boundaries, right? And so if you're looking to have an impact, PMI has a wonderful pen pal program. We also have opportunities for advocacy. We're really in the forefront of advocating for a host of criminal justice reforms or systems transformational reforms, I should say. We have individuals who go into the prisons and jails. We have individuals who go into Kenton County Jail, if that's a capacity that you would like to. We have individuals who go to Logan's Women's Prison. We also have, and this is the last thing before I leave, solidarity circles, in which a congregation or community adopts a returned citizen, right, and supports them in their transition, right? And so, and that's, and again, I work in reentry. Support is critical, right? But as a community kind of adopts them and with boundaries, right? And so again, we have a sign-up sheet if you wanted to talk to our liaison about any of those things. And also, we also produce a very dynamic and powerful newsletter. You just want to get the newsletter, right? Just check the newsletter box. But these will be back there on the table. We welcome you to participate in that capacity. And with that, because I know you all want to get out of here, and I do too, I'm going to get out of here. And thank you for being so welcoming. Thank you.